All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. So we are going to continue reading the life of Rav Shmuel Horowitz. Last week, in the video that we did, we finally reached the part where Rav Shmuel Horowitz starts to learn some of Rebbe Nachman's Seforim. Sorry for the noise in the background, if you can hear that. They're doing some gardening outside my building. Anyway, so we are now in Perek Nun Beis in the Sefer Yemei Shmuel Chelik Aleph. So Rav Shmuel Horowitz says like this. He says that I stopped talking to people about Chassidus because I didn't want them to make confusions for me because they were telling him not to learn Rabbi Nachman's Seforim. And I was also scared to talk to my Rebbe, Rabbi Dov of Warsaw, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, about this, because maybe he would also be a misnagid. And I had a great nisayon, because I didn't want to talk to him about it, and also he was my Rebbe, because what if he said to stop, then I would have to stop. And also my friends started talking to him about it, and they started telling my Rebbe, Rabbi Dov of Warsaw, who's a great tzaddik, we're going to talk about him soon. He says that Shmuel, they're talking about Rav Shmuel Horowitz, is going to be a Breslov Chassidus, and he started to learn the Seforim. And I was very angry at my friend for talking about this with Rabbi Dov, because I was very scared that he would speak against Rebbe Nachman. But even so, I was still very strong in my mind that no matter what, I would still learn Rebbe Nachman's Seforim. And when Rabbi Dov heard this, that I was getting into Breslov, he stood straight up, and he got very nislive with his movements, and he was all fired up, until I was very bewildered by this, like, what's going on? And he said, what is chus, what a merit that Shmuel is going to become a Breslov Chassid. And he started to praise and to say amazing things about Breslov Chassidus. He said that every single Breslov Chassid is full of yira, and they're all tzaddikim, even though they don't understand really what's being talked about in the Sefer Likutei Moharan, because it's one of the deepest Seforim. And he also said that he hasn't seen in any other Seforim the depth that they have in Breslov Chassidus. And he also told me that he gave Breslov Chassidim his shul and also his Seforim. And when he saw the first time he saw the Sefer Seforim, which is Rabbi Nachman's stories, and he looked in the first story, and he understood what he saw there, he said that he found in the first story of Rabbi Nachman's stories, contained in the first story, 40 pages of Eitz Chaim from the Kisvei Ari. That means that in the first story of Rabbi Nachman's stories, which is the Lost Princess, Avedas Bas Melech, he says that story contains 40 pages of Eitz Chaim, of the deepest Kabbalah from the Ari. So that's pretty crazy. And he said on Likutei Moharan, he said that there is no other sefer that is as sharp, as charif, as this sefer in the world. And he learned it al pi Kabbalah, and he saw that that's still missing some of the pshat, that he was still missing some of the pshat, and then he learned it again, even deeper. And he saw that he still wasn't getting to the depths of it, and he learned it again. He learned it 4 times. And the 5th time, he saw that on the 5th time he learned it so deeply that he became blind in his eyes. And after 7 years, his eyesight came back. And Rav Shmuel Horowitz says, and in truth, I remember that a few years before this, my father told me that Rabbi Dov of Warsaw, he all of a sudden became blind. So this is a real story. So that's pretty crazy. Now he's going to start talking about Rabbi Dov of Warsaw, the tzaddik. He's saying that He was a great tzaddik. He was very charif. It's impossible to explain everything. Mamish like some of the earlier geonim. He was a baki in all the rishonim and the achronim. And he learned a lot of Marsha, and he would always talk about the Marsha and the Maram Shif and the Pnei Yeshua. And he would always answer questions of Tosfos, and he would finish Shas every single month. And when he learned with us, with Charifis, he would do a lot of pilpul on one small Tosfos in the Gemara, even just for a few days. Until my brain, Rav Shmuel Horowitz says, until my mind could not handle this. And his face was always red. And he said that in the Kabbalah there's more charifus than in Nigla. In the hidden Torah there's more charifus than inside the written Torah, than in the revealed Torah, which is Gemara. And he was a baki b'chol sifrei Kabbalah, in the Eitz Chaim, in the pre-Eitz Chaim, and the Arizal. Just like a regular Jew is a baki in saying Asher Yeshiv Veisecha before Mincha, he was a baki in all these Seforim. And my friend told me that he heard from him Bifar Hesia in the yeshiva between all the Misnagdim that Rabbeinu was koilel all the Kisvei Arizal. In one saying from Rabbi Nachman in the Kutei Moran, I think, or whatever, it includes 20 pages of Kisvei Ari. And somebody else, if this was not Rabbi Dov of Warsaw, if somebody else would have spoken this type of words in Tzfas, in public back then, he would not even be alive. To say that Rabbi Nachman's words contained the words of the Arizal, 20 pages, they would have killed him. But since he was a great Lamdan Gadol, so they listened to him. They didn't bother him about saying that. And he was also a Moira Hoira. He was a Poisik for 30 years by Rabbi Avram of Sakachav, who is the Baal Mechaber, the Sefer Eglei Tal, the Sakachav Rebbe, the Sefer Avnei Nezer. And he also learned by the Chidushei Arim. Amrli Shetoivel L'Neshama Lilmoid V'Loimar Sefer L'Kutei Moran. And it's good for the neshama to learn and just to say the Sefer L'Kutei Moran, Afal Pish En Mevin Mashal, even though you don't understand what you're saying. And he said also, Al Pi Pshitas, on the simpler level, inside the Sifrei Rabbeinu, there is a great Musar Gadol and great love that doesn't bring a person down. Adrabah, just like a mother cleans her child and brings him and heals her child and takes care of her child, and washes him from when he's dirty and everything like that. So also, that's what the Sifrei Rabbi Nachman do. Trufa, it's like a pill and a refuah to your pains in Gashmias and Ruchnias. Vehu Rabbi Dov, he was a great masmid and he was always learning. And whether he had Talmidim in front of him, whether or not, he was always learning day and night. And when he died, they found him on a open Gemara. But on the day that he found out that I was becoming close to Rabbi Nachman, he sat with me for a few hours and he talked about the greatness of Rabbi Nachman. And he also lent me the Sefer Seforim Ma'asiyos. And at the end of it was attached on the Sefer Shifchei Aran and Sichos. And this Sefer was the Iker Hiskar, the main way that I became close to Rabbi Nachman. From the Shifchei Aran, I guess also Sichos Aran, and I would learn it very much. And the words were popping out to me like fire. Whenever I had a Cyrus, I made a mark in the Sefer. And he also would tell me about the Gedulos and Irois of the Tzion of Rabbi Nachman. I guess he was there at one point before he came to Israel. Ubishnas Tafresh Pei Gimel, which is I guess in the year 1923 now. I only know that because I checked Tafresh Pei Beis last week, so Tafresh Pei Gimel 1923. Around I went to Yerushalayim, and this was a month before the death of my master Rabbi Dov. and I came to him to say goodbye, whatever. And I asked him if he could sell me Sefer Seforim Maisius, and he laughed. And he says, "Afilu, even for all the money in the world, I would not sell the Sefer." And he said, and then I asked him for his Likutei Tfilos to sell me, and he also said the same thing. He said the whole entire Torah and the whole Sifrei Musar is munachim in these tefillas. From a Rebbe, I gained a great chiddush to stand strong with learning Rabbi Nachman, and also my uncle Rabbi Rabbi Avner also strengthened me a lot. Okay, that's what we're going to do today, because I don't have so much time, but that is a lot of chizuk to learn Rebbe Nachman's Seforim. Maybe we'll take a second right now and let us look up who this guy Rabbi Dov of Warsaw is, because I don't know who he is. Let's see if they actually know who he is. There's one website here on Breslov.org. They say his Rabbi Dov of Warsaw doesn't really give a name. He was the rabbi of all the Rabbanim of the Galil. That's all we know. We don't really know. I don't know where he's buried. Interesting. All right. Anyway, we shall be Zeicha.